coming over the top of that emergency spillway. So at that point, crews became concerned that that structure could fail. It's the erosion that they're concerned about, and that's why they've started bagging up these rocks akin to large sandbags, but on a much larger scale. They call them 1-ton bags. These bags are loaded with these boulders and will be dropped in place to try to slow down the erosion. The silver lining in all of this is that the water has stopped going over that emergency spillway, thus cutting off the flow and the future erosion that could be happening there. So with that, they still want to get in, take a look at the damage that was done to that structure. Also know that they may have to use that emergency spillway again. So still, they have these plans in place to put those rocks out there as they plan not only for this current emergency, but the rest of the wet season and the runoff season.
We're in this for this, this past weekend, but we're also in this throughout the wet season. So we want to make sure that we operate and maintain the resources that we have, including the emergency spillway if we need it. That's when we want to go in, assess it, implement our control strategies, continue to monitor it, and if necessary, we will have to use it again.
For now, they are ahead of the situation here with 100,000 cubic feet per second of water going out of Oroville, with 40,000 coming in. So the lake is dropping. They say they'd like to drop it some 50 feet to take the pressure off of that structure and be able to give their crews a chance to get in there and safely survey it, see what the damage was that was done to that structure and whether or not it is, in fact, in imminent danger of a collapse, which is what led to all of these evacuation orders. So for now, the lake continues to drop, but the urgency hasn't, as they know there's more storms coming and the water's still very high and still a big concern for more erosion. So with more on the lake levels, the flows in and out of the lake, and Dirk, I know that forecast as well with more rain, certainly troublesome for the Department of Water Resources as well.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they want to do everything they can to prepare for that. So they have to do the fixes on the areas that are broken, but also they have to get a lot of water still flowing out of that reservoir. So this is what's going on right now with the inflows and outflows. Currently, inflows down dramatically. We're only down to 44,000, almost 45,000, but about 44,000 cubic feet per second. Going out is close to 100,000 cubic feet per second. So that's what's helping to bring down the level of the reservoir, and it's dropping about 1/3 a foot per hour. So looking at the auxiliary spillway, again, on Saturday morning, that was when it reached 901 feet. At that point, the water starts to flow over the spillway. It reached its crest, its highest point, Sunday morning at 3 a.m., and it was at 902.5 feet, basically. And that's when they really started to open things up, and that's when they had problems, too, that were starting to begin with the auxiliary spillway. Since then, they've been able to get the water levels down to about 898 feet, and that's where it currently is. Now, they'd like to get it down closer to 850 feet in preparation for, again, the rest of the season, because not only do we have storms on the way, we also have the runoff from the snowpack. But if they were to do that at the rate that it's going now at 1/3 a foot an hour, it would take 6 days to get it down to that 850-foot level mark. So that's what's going on with the Oroville Reservoir currently. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that forecast and see when that next chance for rain will arrive with Tamara Burton.
Well, it'd be nice if they could speed things up, Dirk, because we've got about 3 days of dry weather where they can get a lot of things done. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that 6-day time frame is going to hold out, as we've got a storm knocking on our door Wednesday night, slated to arrive by Thursday. Satellite view, we've got high clouds steering in and some patches of fog here and there around Stockton and Modesto. Overall temperatures are in the upper 30s to 40s as you head outside for this Monday. 44 in Marysville, where the sun is rising in the sky. It's 41 in Auburn, 46 in Placerville, and 18 currently at South Lake Tahoe. So we've got sunshine, clouds in the mix, forecast in through the midday and afternoon. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s and eventually getting into the lower 60s under partly to mostly sunny skies. So we will see a bit of an increase in clouds heading into tonight, but no rain associated with these clouds. Instead, our rainmaker for the week is still all the way out across the Pacific. We'll see this organize and come together, producing a couple of days of rain, wind, and also mountain snow. We'll take you through what's different about this storm series this week versus last week coming up in a bit. Time right now is 7:06. Let's take you out to the roads now with Jacqueline.
And we still have those road closures in place for anyone who's traveling from north of Chico. You will have to use southbound 5 if you want to get into Sacramento or anywhere south of Oroville. Right now, Highway 99 at Durham-Pence, that remains shut down, and it is closed all the way to south of Yuba City, as well as portions of Highway 70 in both directions. That's a closure at Highway 149, and a lot of folks were planning on using 162 to connect between 99 and I-5, but that has a closure. in effect between Highway 45 and 99. So lots of road closures and additional street closures. So please be prepared. If you are traveling through any of those areas, you're likely to experience some delays and some alternate routes that you'll have to take. Here's a live look. I-5, if you're making your way into Sacramento this morning, still looking pretty good along that portion. We just jumped into the yellow, 12-minute travel time. Highway 50 remains in the green out of Folsom heading into Sacramento, but just a heads up, we do still have a closure along Highway 50, and that is all due to the mudslide, and that is between Strawberry and Pollock Pines there. So just a heads up for anyone who is traveling to the Sierra or would like to travel to the Sierra today, you can use I-80. Back for you guys.
All right. Thank you, Jacqueline. Well, as we said earlier, nearly 200,000 people under evacuation orders right now. Those orders prompted most people to leave home at the same time last night. Here is the result. Live Copter 3 up and over. Gridlock along roads and highways just about everywhere you turn in this area.
And one of the main shelters you will find is in Chico at the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds. If you have large animals that you need a place to take, this is where you want to go. KCR 3's Leticia Ordaz is joining us there live this morning.
Well, good morning. Right now, there are 700 people currently at the fairgrounds. The Salvation Army is getting ready to serve breakfast here because of privacy. We can't take a look indoors, but we see a lot of people wandering outside. As you can imagine, they did not sleep much. Some of them tell us they only had about 4 minutes to get out of their houses, so it was a mad dash out. So many of them left with only the clothing on their back. They are here today getting the help they need. So they were given a cot as well as a warm blanket. Now they are being fed this morning. There's also a medical facility that has been set up for anyone who is under stress or who needs help. And as you mentioned, this is an area where people have brought livestock and other animals. We're told there are about 100 animals here, and we've seen a lot of examples of people helping each other out here. Here's a listen to some of the evacuees.
It was hectic. I had to pick up our kids. We have 6 kids. We left with nothing, absolutely nothing. And now we're here helping out. My children are with my sister at her house here in Chico safe, but me and my wife, we decided to come over here and help out.
It can all be replaced. I don't have any money. I don't have a job right now. I have no income, but if I'm alive, that's cool, and I got family I can move in with.
Many people are very anxious to get home. They're asking the volunteers out here, can I leave now? Can I leave now? And the answer is no, not until you hear otherwise. So they're asking people just to stay put, to be patient out here. There is everything they could possibly need. They have warm coffee and food. They're just trying to make everyone feel comfortable under this very stressful situation. Again, if you're watching and you need a place to go, the fairgrounds is still accepting anyone who needs help. That's the very latest here live in Chico. I'm Leticia Ordaz, KCLA 3 News.
All right, Leticia, thank you.
Let's go to Mike DeSalle now. He's live in Sacramento. And so, Mike, we had some people who went to those evacuation centers, 6 different counties offering them. And then we had some people who just tried to find a motel or a hotel.
Yeah, and Deirdre, it's another direct impact of the mass exodus out of the Oroville area yesterday. And this is quite an unusual sight for Monday morning. If you're not familiar, Richards Boulevard's an exit off I-5 right before you hit downtown. We're at the Motel 6, but right across the street, you can see there's a Days Inn, which is next to a Comfort Suites, which separated by a gas station, but right next to that is a La Quinta. And take a look at the video from before sunrise, and this is what all of those motels look like this morning. Their parking lots nearly filled to capacity as all of those people, part of that exodus this morning. And as people are getting up this morning watching our news, I got a chance to talk to some of them, and they're all kind of having that same uneasy feeling about what may happen at Oroville. Listen.
I'm not sure if we're going to be able to have a secure home for the next week. Don't know where we're going to be staying, hopefully at the house.
So for those who don't understand, what's it like not knowing when you might be able to go home?
Just anxious. Yeah, too much unplacement. Have the kid here, have the dogs here, trying to figure out where to stay every night.
And back out here live, just to give you a sense of how unusual this is for a Monday morning, talking to all these motels here, and they say either they are completely booked or have only a couple of rooms that they might be able to supply you with if needed. Another option is to go on Airbnb. I just did this morning, moments ago, checking to see for a family of 5. There are multiple options still out there, so that's just another possible option. As you heard, the fairgrounds obviously open. As for that woman that you just heard from, I said, what do you do when you wake up on a Monday morning with the kids still here and your husband still here? And she said, well, I'm going to go to work, he's going to stay with the kids. So trying to have some sort of normalcy in what is an abnormal situation, not just the motels, but for a lot of those evacuated residents on this beginning of the work week. Live on Richards Boulevard in Sacramento, Mike Tassell, KCRA 3 News.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Mike. The reality is that they don't know how long this is going to go on. So, trying to create that sense of normalcy as well as you can is probably a good thing.
Yeah, especially when you got kids and dogs and they're all in a small room right now, because this is one of those motels that takes dogs. So we've seen a lot of people out this morning walking their dogs, so to speak, just getting a chance to get out of the room.
Hotels will take them too. It's nice that the hotels are willing to take a lot of these pets. All right, Mike, thank you so much, because they are part of the family.
It is, and people just had to move quickly last night. So there is an evacuation center that's also open in Grass Valley. You'll find this one at the Nevada County Fairgrounds. It opened last night, and quickly they had 500 people there who showed up. Volunteers were really busy trying to get those cots set up, trying to make people feel as comfortable as possible. A gas station in Marysville also closed this morning, likely because of those evacuation orders. The driver of the tanker that you just saw says that the station does still have fuel, but there is now caution tape up around those pumps.
We do have a crawl, you may have noticed, at the bottom of the screen with critical information on the evacuations and the situation at the emergency spillway. We are also updating at the bottom of the screen a list of schools closed in Butte County.
And in case you have more specific questions, there is a public information line that's been set up to help as well. That number is 530-872-5951. And you'll find that number and all the evacuation number information, the numbers, the locations on our KCRA app. We will continue updating that as the situations change. We'll have much more right after this.
We're back now at 7:16. Let's get a check on that forecast. And I guess the good news for today, dry.
It is dry, and we'll have a couple of days to stay dry across the region, which is great news, especially concerning all the issues we've been seeing impacting around Lake Oroville and the dam. Our forecast outside right now in the 30s around Stockton, 39 degrees, 41 in Modesto, 45 looking at some sunshine across Sacramento and some high clouds steering in. Notice that the flags there are pretty much parked along the poles there at Rayleigh Field, so the wind is reported calm. Across the region, we expect calm winds today, pretty much clear skies on the occasion, though we will see some clouds kind of drift by as this high pressure ridge is pretty much our dominant feature, keeping us dry. Any clouds we have go up and over this ridge are not going to be rain producing clouds. We are going to see a weather system come together, though, starting Wednesday night, and that could lead to some very widespread rain in the area by Thursday. Futurecast here showing you Monday afternoon. Again, just some clouds kind of increasing throughout the day, but by Tuesday, notice that our skies really clear out. So more sunshine ahead on Tuesday, but you can see this wave of moisture just off the coast, and this will be moving into the region starting on Wednesday. Wednesday morning, we have showers along the northern half of the state before that slow moving system will impact most of our area starting Thursday early morning. So that Thursday commute will be a wet one. Now, the difference between the storm series last week and the storms we'll witness this week later in the week is that these systems will be colder, which means there's going to be less rainfall. And of course, keep in mind that with all the rain and the warm air we had last week in the Sierra, that led to some good hefty runoff. I don't think we'll see much of that as we go through this week, as that snow level is going to come down the hill in through the day on Thursday. So Thursday afternoon, again, we will see scattered occasional showers later in the day, and then I think Thursday evening we'll catch a bit of a rain break before the next storm arrives, heading through Friday and into Saturday. So keep in mind our forecast this week ahead. Today is dry, tomorrow is dry, and so is Wednesday. But we'll have early morning showers Thursday, and then more rain, wind, and snow ahead with a series of systems as we go through the back half of the week. So Friday and into Saturday, and then possibly Saturday into Sunday. Valley spots potentially an inch to maybe an inch and a half. And for the foothills, we could be seeing areas maybe upwards of 3 to 4 inches possible as we get through these series of storms this week. But the focus is on the dry weather in through Wednesday. Rain arrives Thursday, showers in through Friday, and more rain ahead next weekend. It is 7:18. Let's take it into the roads now and see how your commute looks.
Well, it's getting a little busy out there. We're starting to see a lot of yellow sensors light up our screen here. No reports of any crashes if you're heading along northbound 99, say out of Elk Grove up towards Highway 50. We had an earlier crash along Madison, but that has been cleared. And we continue to see some slowdowns building along Business 80 and out of West Sacramento Sacramento across the causeway. Here's a live look, Highway 99 near Mack Road, and traffic on the right side of your screen that's heading northbound as you headed into Sacramento. It's just under a 20-minute commute. We're in the red for drivers heading out of Elk Grove. Business 80, 11 minutes and 15 minutes along northbound 5. Stockton looking pretty good, nice and quiet along 99 Crosstown Freeway and I-5 there, but we are tracking big delays for drivers heading through Tracy Triangle. It's been a problem already this morning, westbound 580, but that has finally jumped back down into the yellow. We're in the red now for Interstate 80. Back over to you.
All right, thank you so much. Well, traveling into the Sierra is still tough on Highway 50. Road remains closed from Pollock Pines to Strawberry this morning due to a mudslide. Take a look here. Caltrans says dirt and debris cover the roadway, so they shut down the road through the weekend. They are hoping to reopen the highway sometime today. We'll keep you posted on that. In the eastern Sierra, Mammoth Mountain Resort says there has been so much snow this winter, it plans to keep ski slopes open until at least the 4th of July. The resort, the main lodge there, recorded 35 feet of snow on Friday. 35 feet. Mammoth says that's enough to keep the lifts running until at least July 4th. A video here from just last month. The last time the resort got this much snow was in 2011 when it stayed open until the middle of summer. Snowfall totaled almost 56 feet so far that season. It is 7:20 now, still ahead. Back on the market, why a ban on some controversial magnets has now been lifted. Consumer Reports has a very strong warning for parents. We do continue to follow breaking news this morning out of Oroville, where crews are working to fix the dam's emergency spillway after discovering severe erosion. Early this morning, the water stopped actually pouring over that spillway, and the lake level, some good news, has dropped under the 100% mark. They had a lot of work to do still. Crews are right now, you're looking here earlier this morning, filling these large bags with boulders. And helicopters are coming in from all over the state. They will lift those bags up and they will drop them onto part of the spillway there, kind of patching it up. Right now, nearly 200,000 people are still under evacuation orders. Other news this morning, President Trump continues his diplomatic outreach today by meeting with Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the White House. Both leaders are hoping to find common ground. The Trump-Trudeau talks are expected to focus on trade and a new task force on working women. But the president's travel ban could also be a hot topic. A new order could be introduced even as early as today. Trump administration says all options are on the table, including a possible appeal to the Supreme Court.
This is a judicial usurpation of power. It is a violation of judges' proper role in litigating disputes. We will fight it.
This new missile test has dominated world headlines. State TV, take a look, shows the successful test fire of a medium to long-range ballistic missile. Consumer Reports issuing a safety alert about a controversial magnet. These magnets, they've been banned since 2014 because they've caused life-threatening injuries among children and teens. But a federal court has overturned the ban, and they're back on the market. Lisa Gonzalez explains what you need to know to keep your family safe.
Back in 2012, when Braylon Jordan was almost 2, he swallowed 8 tiny magnets. Their powerful force perforated his intestine, most of which had to be surgically removed. He still gets nearly all of his nutrition intravenously. Braylon was just one of thousands of people who ended up in the emergency room with magnet injuries before the ban. Dr. Adam Noel, one of Braylon's doctors, says in his experience, the ban dramatically lowered the number of magnetic ball injuries.
We see the injuries very rare right now, maybe 1 or 2 cases a year.
But recently, prompted by a petition filed by Zen Magnets, a panel of federal judges voted 2-1 to rescind the ban, which means the magnets can legally be sold again. Consumer Reports health editor Ellen Kunis says the magnets can still be dangerous.
These magnets are so strong that if they're swallowed, they can pull together with enough force to punch holes along different sections of the digestive system.
The founder of Zen Magnets maintains they are perfectly safe when properly used. There are also warnings about possible injuries on the website and in the packaging. But Consumer Reports urges parents to use extreme caution.
We recommend that you avoid having these magnet sets if there are any children in the home.
Braylon is a happy first grader now, but has serious medical issues he'll have to deal with for the rest of his life. Lisa Gonzalez, KCRA 3 News.
It is now 7:26. Still ahead, flooding forcing people out of their homes in the southern part of Sacramento County, from the north to the south now. What's being done to protect homes and businesses before more wet weather is upon us this week? Well, before that, we got a live look here. Good morning to you, Modesto. We'll have much more headlines, weather, and traffic as we continue this morning.
You're watching KCRA 3. We begin with breaking news.
We do continue to follow the breaking news out of Butte County right now, continue there at the Oroville Dam to prevent a catastrophic failure of the emergency spillway.
So crews are going to be dropping giant bags, 1-ton bags of boulders to try to shore up the weakened parts of the spillway. And KCRA 3's Brian Hickey's been out there all morning. This is what's been happening overnight while it was dark and they couldn't get in and do a visual assessment. They've had the crews out there loading up these giant, they're 1-ton. If you imagine a sandbag, it's like that, only obviously way bigger, and you can put the heavier rocks in to try to create some of that barrier.
Yeah, definitely. And they will be dropping those entire bags, not emptying the bags there. And, hopefully this will, essentially you're like kind of plugging up a hole is what you're doing.
In a big, big way.
Absolutely. And the good news is that the lake is below 100% right now, so no water. This is video from yesterday. Water is actually not flowing over it right now.
All right, Brian Hickey is joining us out now live in Oroville. He's at the visitor center at the top of the dam.
Yeah, and we're getting our first look at the dam this morning. I can tell you the dam over this side of my shoulder, completely intact this morning, no impact to the main dam of Oroville. And then as we swing along, you can see the high water level, and then back over here is where the mist continues to rise. That is where water on the main spillway, 100,000 cubic feet per second of water is flowing down that spillway and then crashing into that hole that opened up last week. It's beyond all of that, the emergency spillway, where the concern is this morning. Fortunately, no more water is flowing over that emergency spillway, but it was the erosion that occurred late yesterday that raised the alarms and the potential for a collapse of that emergency spillway. So this morning, take a look at this video, and through the night, crews have been busy bagging rocks. Semis have been trucking rocks up to this overlook here, and then crews have been busy placing those rocks into large bags that we're told will later be helicoptered in to that emergency spillway, where they'll be dropped to shore up that emergency spillway and try to stop erosion in that area. While the emergency spillway is not in use right now, the water level's a couple of feet below that level now. They say they still need to plan for the future and the likelihood that they could need that emergency spillway again. So for now, the plan is to move forward with shoring up that area and then also get in there and assess the damage as they plan for the future.
We're making additional flood control storage. We need to do that for a length of time so we can make room for the anticipated storm here later this week. If we can keep this discharge rate up and not compromise the flood control structure, then we're going to do it.
And so right now, 100,000 cubic feet per second of water flowing out of Lake Oroville, 40,000 and some change coming into the lake. So right now there is a net loss of water, and that's good for the one of the first times here in the last week, as they've seen that level continue to rise. And you can see behind us how high the water is right up near the top of the dam, which is why that emergency spillway exists. They want water to flow over that area and not over the top of the dam. And so far the dam is in great shape. It's that emergency spillway that they are most concerned about. So for now, they continue to let that water out, taking advantage of some drier weather as they get ready to make a plan to get in there and see just how bad the damage was caused to that emergency spillway. Live here at Lake Oroville, Brian Hickey, KCRA 3 News.
All right, Brian, thanks. There is a news conference scheduled at noon today with Department of Water Resources where they'll update what they learned this morning. Let's take it over to Dirk Verdorn, and Brian brings up a good point about having that dry spell right now. Just a little bit of a breathing space.
Yeah, a little bit of a breathing space. I know they'd like to get the lake level down to about 850 feet. Right now, the lake is lowering at about a foot every 3 hours. And so at that rate, it could take up to 6 days before they get it down to that level. But hopefully that rate's going to increase over the next, well, through today and on and over the next few days, because there is more rain on the way. But let's go ahead and take a look at the situation here. Here's Lake Oroville, and you can see where the dam is. You can see where the damaged spillway is. That's that long line that extends just from the left of the dam. And then you have the auxiliary spillway, and that's the area that has the pulsating red spot. That's where we have the damage, and that they're concerned about the possible area that could release release some uncontrolled water. So the area that's been impacted by this, taking a look at the numbers, how many people and what communities here. The Oroville area has been evacuated, over 15,000 people. South Oroville, over 5,000 people. Thermalito, over 6,000 people. That's immediately right downriver from where the dam is. Now you continue down the river and you can see communities, smaller communities like Biggs at close to 2,000 people. We have over 6,500 people in Gridley impacted by this. And then on into the more larger populations that we have along the Feather River. That would be Marysville, Yuba City, Linda, and Olivehurst. That totals over 100,000 people in that area impacted by this. And of course, there's lots of little smaller communities up and down the river that are being impacted by this. So there's a lot of people that are feeling the effects of this and have the evacuation order in their area. So that's what's going on as far as the impact of this. Now we'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dirk.
So nearly 200,000 people have been told they need to evacuate their homes.
KCR3's Leticia Ordaz is live in Chico, where an emergency shelter is open there for anybody there. And Leticia, are they full? Like, are they having to turn people away? Or are they still taking folks there?
Well, Tail, good question. They're telling me that they could take anyone who needs help. This is such a huge facility here. They've already set up about 4 dorms, and you can see a lot of people are now making their way here because the Salvation Army is serving breakfast and ready to feed anyone who shows up here. So I'm being told as many as 1,000 people could be coming for breakfast here at the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds. A lot of people very anxious. They haven't slept much. They were told to get out of their homes and only basically had about 4 minutes to go. So many people just grabbed basic items, just the clothing on their backs, and got out here. There's a lot of people under a lot of stress, wanting to know when they can go back home, if they will have a home to go back to if anything goes catastrophically wrong. Hopefully that does not happen, but definitely it is a concern, and we've seen many people out here crying and just in a panic. Take a listen.
It was hectic. I had to pick up our kids. We have 6 kids. We left with nothing, absolutely nothing. And now we're here helping out. My children are with my sister at her house here in Chico safe, but me and my wife, we decided to come over here and help out.
It can all be replaced. I don't have any money. I don't have a job right now. I have no income, but if I'm alive, that's cool, and I got family I can move in with.
For the most part, people out here are trying to keep their spirits up. They are ready for breakfast. The Salvation Army will also be serving lunch here. And again, they say if you're watching and you need a place to go, there are many shelters in the area, but this is definitely one of the bigger ones. They're also accepting large animals. Right now, they have about 100 that they're housing here on the fairgrounds. That is the very latest here, live in Chico. I'm Leticia Ordaz, KCRA 3 News.
Leticia, when things like this happen, you worry about the most vulnerable people in our society, and certainly seniors would certainly fall under that category. What are they doing to try to help out some of the older people in that area?
Yes, Deirdre, we've run into some senior citizens in the community. When we were driving here, making our way to the fairgrounds, we ran into a woman. Her name is Donna Hansen, and she is in her 80s. She told me that she only had about 2 minutes to get out. The problem is she doesn't have a cell phone, and she didn't remember her son's phone number, so she had no way to reach her son to let her son know that she was okay. So we ran into her at the gas station. I was able to get her information, give that to the Red Cross. The Red Cross ended up driving to the gas station and connecting the woman with her son. So the Red Cross is definitely here to help anyone, but we have seen seniors who ended up spending the night at the gas station because they didn't know how to make their way here to the fairgrounds. So luckily that woman is getting the help she needs this morning, and her family luckily knows she's okay.
Yeah,
Deirdre?
That is good. All right. Hey, thank you so much, Leticia. In the meantime, Governor Brown has issued an emergency order to help bolster the state's response to the spillway emergency. Governor says that he's been in close contact with emergency personnel managing the situation in Oroville throughout the weekend. He goes on to add that the state is directing all necessary personnel and resources to deal with this serious situation.
The Office of Emergency Services says that the state is directing all the necessary personnel and resources to deal with what has turned out to be a rapidly changing situation. At least 250 law enforcement officers from throughout California are in the area, or they're on their way, to help keep things safe for the people who have had to evacuate. The California National Guard put out a notification to all 23,000 soldiers and airmen to be ready to deploy if needed. A National Guard official says they will provide 8 helicopters to help with the emergency spillway reconstruction. CAL FIRE has also deployed an emergency management team to help with the Department of Water Resources.
And this is something CAL FIRE is well practiced at with incident management teams, not only on wildland fires, but all hazard emergencies around the state. So in addition to the management team, CAL FIRE, as part of the mutual aid system, also has numerous fire engines, hand crews, and helicopters deployed and available to respond should they be needed.
Now, in addition, the California Highway Patrol has brought in additional people, 100 personnel to help with those evacuations. They also have 3 helicopters and 2 airplanes available to help in search and rescue and also to help monitor traffic if necessary. On our KCRA app, you will find the information on where those evacuation centers are located, some photo galleries of the damage, and exclusive Live Copter 3 aerial videos. Also, make sure you have breaking news alerts turned on. You'll be able to get updates straight to your phone.
Let's get a check on the forecast now. Headed over to meteorologist Tamara Berg.
And conditions dry as we start out this work week. Your Monday forecast does include some high clouds moving across the area. We expect to see these high clouds on occasion today, but these are not rain producing clouds, so don't need to get the umbrella out and get ready for a rainy day ahead. Instead, we've got these high clouds that'll dim the sunshine. Temperatures right now off to a cool start, especially around Fairfield and Stockton, in the upper 30s currently. 45 right now in Sacramento, 45 up the hill in Placerville, to 18 currently at the south shore of Lake Tahoe. We've been seeing a few patches of fog here and there across much of San Joaquin County, even a couple patches around Modesto, but notice visibility is not dropped off that bad. It's still about 4 miles in Stockton. That's nothing compared to some of the thicker fog that's been developing as you get west of the Delta. Valley Planner today, sun and clouds mixing in. Temperatures will be very seasonable for this time of year, back into the low 60s this afternoon. Clouds will be a bit on the increase tonight, and then as we go through the day tomorrow, we will see again a return of more sunshine and dry weather continues before this next system comes together just off the coast. This will provide us with more rain, wind, and snow. We'll time that out with Futurecast for you coming up in just a bit. It is 7:41. Let's take you out to the roadways now with Jacqueline.
And we continue to track the road closures along southbound 99, Highway 99, shut down in both directions right at Highway 149, or that is Durham-Pence Road. So anyone who lives north of there, say from out of Chico, you can always take Highway 32 over towards I-5 and then take southbound 5 into Sacramento if that's where you're headed. Highway 70 at Highway 149. That's closed, and it's closed all the way to south of Yuba City. We are tracking closure along 162. That is between Highway 45 and 99. So again, head on over to I-5, take that south into Sacramento. Right now, your ride looking pretty good if you are trying to get into the capital city along I-5. But 99 definitely getting busy, Business 80 and Highway 50 starting to show a lot of brake lights as you make your way into downtown. We're in the yellow for all of our Sacramento majors. That is Check Your Traffic. Back over to you.
All right, Jacqueline, thanks. It's 7:42 now. The market's opened well over 20,000 again this morning. Where do they stand now, Kelly?
Yeah, and kind of interesting. The S&P 500 today for the first time hit 20 trillion in combined market cap of all the companies. So the positive momentum continues. Dow up about 100 points on Friday, up another 115 today, with all the major averages trending higher as we get going on this Monday morning. Let's talk about Verizon, though, for just a moment, because this is kind of an interesting story. We thought unlimited data was a dinosaur, a thing of the past. Verizon is bringing it back. For the first time in more than 5 years, the company's decision comes as it faces increasing competition from other wireless carriers. Verizon offers $80 a month for unlimited data, talk, and text on one line, or about $45 per line if you get a family plan, up to four lines or so. A study by Netflix finds nearly half of streaming couples in the U.S. have cheated on their significant other by watching a show they had agreed to watch together. That is 3 times higher than it was just about 4 years ago. About 14% of American couples consider Netflix cheating, worse than their partner forgetting a birthday or anniversary, but it still falls below the traditional definition of cheating. Back to you guys.
Have you ever done it?
The Netflix cheating?
Yeah.
No. We don't, I don't know. We don't group watch. We kind of have our own things. Although we are both interested in The Crown.
Yes, that's pretty. I made it through about 10 minutes. I fell asleep, so I'm saving it for like a vacation or something. So
well, you know how it is when you have a spouse who's not exactly on your schedule, where she's up watching it long after I'm sawing logs.
I hear you. I feel your pain. All right, thank you. It is 7:45 now, and we'll be back with more right after this. Well, residents along the McCollum River are continuing to keep a close eye on their water levels. In San Joaquin County, the water was so strong in Thornton that it actually tore some of the boats from their moorings. At New Hope Landing RV Park and Marina, it sent the boats crashing into a nearby bridge.
See it, Dan. Oh, that didn't take long. That one didn't fight half as much.
Cranes had to come in to break apart those boats and force them under the bridge so they didn't create a backup in the river. Just upstream, part of the levee broke under the stress of that water yesterday, sending gushing floodwater into a nearby ranch. Water managers are worried that it might happen again in an area where you have more people.
Our concern is to keep an eye on our levee, make sure we don't have any places that are starting to leak or slough away.
What's scary is that there's so much water above us. All the dams are full. The snowpack is huge. This is going to be here for a while, I'm afraid. And the longer the water is this high, there's more stress on the levees. And that's something that makes everybody nervous.
So just last week, 34 loads of rock got delivered to help reinforce parts of the levee in that region and repair the damage from all that water that came in the last month. The San Joaquin River is rising and flooding some mobile home communities in Stanislaus County. Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department took these pictures showing you several campers that are sitting there in the water. Sheriff's deputies are warning people who live at Fisherman's Bend and Catfish Camp trailer parks to get to higher ground. Many in Catfish Camp say they already cleared out. Those at Fisherman's Bend started moving to higher elevations yesterday morning. In Rio Vista, the Sacramento River has spilled over onto Highway 84. KCRA3 viewer Jay Haycock sent in some pictures of what the flooding was like there yesterday. He took this one upstream from the Rio Vista Bridge, and he says that it was bad enough that Caltrans had to shut down that road. It is 7:49 as we get a check on the forecast, and the good news is that it's at least dry today.
Yeah, but as you're seeing those pictures and witnessing right now, the flood waters still continue to be a concern, even in these dry days. And we'll have dry days to start the work week before another storm lines up and will bring us more widespread rain, wind, and mountain snow as we get into the back half of the work week. Outside right now, pretty beautiful start to the day. 39 in Stockton, 45 in Sacramento, where the sun is shining with some high clouds off in the backdrop as well. 41 in Modesto and 18 currently in Lake Tahoe, where the winds remain pretty flat and calm across the area. Live look at our Stockton Arena sky cam over the waterfront. Just some hazy sunshine out there as fog trying to form, but really not having much of an effort of doing so because of all these high clouds we've had drifting into our area. High pressure will be the dominant feature, so these are not rain producing clouds, and instead today it'll just kind of dim the sunshine occasionally. So our forecast for this Monday, we will see kind of an increase in clouds later on this afternoon, but no rain. You'll notice that as we go through the day on Tuesday, skies will really clear out. May have some morning fog to deal with, but as we go through the afternoon, bright sunshine, another dry day, great day to be outdoors. In through the day on Wednesday, we will notice more cloud cover kind of increasing as the storm starts to line up on the northern half of the state. Again, in areas north of Marysville, Yuba City, and out to the coastal range, really. Then we'll start to notice more cloud cover as we go through much of Thursday, Wednesday night into Thursday, and by Thursday morning, we are talking about our storm door opening up with a series of storms. Now, the big difference between the storms we had last week, which just kind of pounded us with the rainfall, and of course went on that snowpack, producing all that runoff. I think these storms are going to be colder, so we are expecting less in the way of the amount of rain, and we're expecting that those snow levels should be down to around 5,000 to 6,000 feet throughout Thursday afternoon and into Friday. Now, I think Thursday evening we will have a little bit of a chance to dry out before the next series of storms move into the day on Friday, Saturday, and then through Sunday. So our dry days ahead, today through Wednesday, great get outdoors weather. By Thursday, though, the rain will have started in the morning with the morning commute. The wind will be picking up and the snow will begin to fall in the Sierra. And then as we go through the areas with the valley, expecting totals in the range of maybe 1 inch to 1.5 inches with that system starting up on Thursday. So today, again, sun, clouds mixing in, a nice day outside. Beautiful day for Valentine's Day, and then clouds increase Wednesday. Rain arrives with the wind and the snow Thursday, and we've got a series of storms impacting us through the weekend. It is 7:52. Let's turn our attention to the roadways with Jacqueline.
Eyes on the road right now. We are tracking some road closures along Highway 99. That's at Durham Pins right now. Traffic shut down. You will need to use southbound 5 if you need to get into Sacramento because it's closed all the way to south of Yuba City there along 99 and 70. We also have a closure 99 right at Highway 20. Heading into Sacramento right now, starting to see some brake lights as you're making your way onto Business 80 from Interstate 80. Here's a live look at your ride as you're approaching this is near Greenback. But you can see we're actually showing some improvement. Traffic not as crowded as we were tracking earlier, but we continue to see delays along northbound 99 out of Elk Grove, just under a 20-minute commute. Drivers heading through Stockton, it's been pretty quiet this morning. We are starting to see a few brake lights northbound 99 as you're making your way into Modesto, approaching Highway 132. That is Check Your Traffic. Back over to you.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you. National average price of gas is falling. It went down a nickel during the last 3 weeks to $2.31. Industry analyst Trilby Lindbergh says the decline is coming despite a slight rise in crude oil prices and hikes in wholesale gas prices by U.S. refiners. As usual, gas prices are a bit higher in Northern California, $2.71 a gallon in Sacramento, $2.68 in Stockton, $2.61 in Modesto. I noticed it at $3.21 in Tahoe City yesterday. We'll be back with more right after this. Coming up at 8 o'clock as we continue monitoring this breaking news out of Oroville.
Crews right now want to take you live to the big fix, at least the attempt here. The dam's emergency spillway started eroding, and that's what led to this. This is a live picture of the main spillway where 100,000 cubic feet per second of water right now pouring down. You can see the mist. Water is not, though, pouring over the emergency spillway any longer. The lake levels have dropped under 100% right now. Folks definitely need some good news there. Right now, crews are filling large bags, huge bags with big boulders. Helicopters are coming in from all over the state, taking those bags and dropping them kind of to patch up this hole. Right now, nearly 200,000 people are under evacuation orders still. Evacuees are spread out all across Northern California, evacuation centers, homes, hotels, you name it.
More coming up at 8 o'clock here on KQCA My 58.